That guy's going to be some senator one day.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Jesse Hughes Show. It's good to be back. It's good to have you guys all on here, all 30 of you watching so far. Wow. Let's go. Make sure to share this with your friends. Tell your friends. Tune in. Drop a comment. Drop a follow. Drop a share. Do whatever pleases your heart. I do need to ask one favor of somebody, anybody, somebody that is watching. I am a huge college football fan. Currently, my alma mater, Liberty University, is playing a game at UTEP. I cannot watch. Last time I checked, the score was 13-0. If somebody wants to, while you're watching, just drop the score in the chat if it changes. I think it's getting close to halftime, so it might be a bit. But if sometime during the course of the show, if you want to drop the score in the chat just so that I have a little bit of an update of what's going on, feel free. College Republicans. College Republicans is an organization nationwide that exists to mobilize college students to go out and help Republicans win campaigns. It's pretty simple. A few years ago, there was some drama over the fact that the National College Republicans Committee was not doing a good job. And so, my friend Will Donahue started College Republicans of America. And he got those chapters on campuses all across the country. Between 30 to 40 states right now currently have chapters with College Republicans of America. They have done more than any other group in the country except for Turning Point USA, I might say, to mobilize young people to go out and help Donald Trump win the 2024 presidential election. They do a ton of great work on campuses, and because of that, they are often targeted with harassment, censorship, the administration's trying to do everything that they can to make life hard. One such case of this happened at the University of Missouri, also known as Mizzou. At Mizzou, the college Republicans were told by the Student Government Administration that they could not organize as a club unless they put a provision in their club constitution saying that they would not discriminate against transgenders. Obviously, most college Republicans are Christians. That goes against their values. And so, our guest tonight decided he was going to stand up to the administration, stand up to the student government, and he won. Or at least that's what he thought at the start. Brandon Poteet is tonight's guest. He is the chairman of the College Republicans at Mizzou, as well as a couple of other titles that I'll let him share. Brendan, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty all right. How about yourself?
All right, just quickly introduce yourself. Tell the viewers who are you, what do you do, what is your role in all of this?
So my name is Brendan Poteet. I'm the chairman of Missouri's Federation of College Republicans. That's our statewide organization. I'm the Mizzou chapter president at the University of Missouri Columbia, and I'm also the College Republicans of America social media director. And I'm a junior at the University of Missouri. I'm majoring in constitutional democracy and political science with minors in history and defense and strategic studies. And I'm originally from Colorado.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Colorado to Missouri. That must be a real switch up.
A good switch up. Very good switch up.
I'm sure. All right. So just quickly explain what is going on right now. How did all of this start? Are there any updates you'd like to share? I think you mentioned before we came on that you might have had a couple of bombshells that you wanted to share. Could you just briefly explain what's going on, what's the situation, and what is the current state?
So at the University of Missouri, you have to annually register with the student organization. It's an administrative body, and in order fulfill your registration requirements, you have to fulfill certain requirements listed out by the administration. And one of those requirements is verbatim a non-discrimination clause that originally asked that we not discriminate on the basis of gender identity and gender expression. Obviously, with President Trump's Executive Order 14168, gender ideology is no longer to be endorsed and circulated on our college campuses throughout our federal government. And it is the policy of the United States to recognize there are only two sexes, male and female, and there's nothing that can change what you are born as. I talked with my executive board, and we made the collective decision that we were not going to include gender expression and gender identity in our Constitution because we simply do not agree with it, and because it goes against federal regulations. And we thought we might be able to sneak by without them giving us a hassle over our registration. But that was wishful thinking. We still had to go through a process. Our application was temporarily halted, and we were not going to be able to schedule meetings or events on campus unless we changed our requirements or changed our non-discrimination clause to fit the administration's requirements. So what I did is I drafted a response. I gave my reasoning why I did not agree with it and why the executive order from the Trump administration laid out the groundwork. I took inspiration from the University of Alabama's Young Americans for Freedom chapter. They actually had a direct similar problem when I visited them back in the spring. And so I took inspiration from them and I took a stand. I was confident that I was going to win this. And I had the support of a lot of people going forward and doing it. I reached out to some congressmen and the governor. I don't know what hand they had in helping, but within only a few days of submitting my response, the issue was resolved. And all of a sudden, Mizzou College Republicans was registered for the 2025 to 2026 academic year.
Awesome. So has the administration trying to push these kinds of things? You know, you look at Missouri, a place like Missouri, it's usually considered a pretty conservative state, but as we know, a lot of state colleges, even in conservative areas, still have a large leftist contingent, especially in faculty and administration. Have they tried to give you guys issues in the past? Is this something kind of new that came out of left field? What's the deal with the administration's relationship with both you guys and other conservative clubs, if there are any on campus?
So I hadn't really experienced a whole lot of problems. I've only been president since December of 2024. I'd never had to go through the administrative processes like how we had to at the start of this year. President Moon Choi, the system president, he's been actually phenomenal in standing up for student groups, contrary to what many leftist groups like to say. He is a champion among ensuring equal representation for our student groups and trying to keep things relatively civil on our campuses. I would argue he's probably one of the best university presidents in the country. And that's not just me glazing to glaze. I genuinely believe that.
Well,
but I do think there has been, under the presidency of Joe Biden, I think there was a significant change in focusing on more leftist policies in the administration. I think that a lot of it has resulted in there's just simply too much for every university's administration to actually go through and see what programs are in conflict with current federal regulations. And I'll get more into that in a moment, but I would hate for my university to lose its federal funding because they forgot to take out whatever leftist woke policy that they had in place and they just forgot about it. I'd hate to see a university lose its funding over something like that. And so I think that I like to think that I tried to actually help the university in getting rid of this requirement for student organizations.
And that was going to be my next question was if you, and this could be just speculative, but did you think that this was something that they had purposely put in to try and just see if they would get a challenge? Was this something that was maybe a leftover from a previous era that they just forgot to take out, weren't quite sure what the parameters of the executive order were? I was going to ask, this is speculative, but where do you think that this language originally came from?
I think it's left over from the Biden presidency, where we saw a slew of increased woke and leftist policies that challenge biological reality and endorse gender ideology, which has done irreparable damage to the young generation of Americans. You look at the terrible tragedies of mass school shootings. Most recently, I mean, look at, I believe it's Tennessee and Minnesota. Um, you see these instances, and it's a dangerous ideology. It endorses it. It doesn't treat mental illness, and instead it helps. It turns into an echo chamber to try to manipulate young, susceptible children into ruining their bodies and making life-altering decisions that could have terrible consequences. And one of the biggest things about my taking a stand about this against this is it should not only do I not agree with it, but it should not be an administrative body such as the University of Missouri mandating that students who may not agree with this be forced to agree with it. That would be like, the best example I can come up is with a state endorsing a particular religion. It goes against the First Amendment.
Well, I have thoughts on that, but that's a discussion for another time. Um, what has the reaction been like on campus among students? Obviously, you have won this fight against the university, which might not have even been a fight to begin with. You might have actually given them an out to be able to remove this language and not even realize it. But how well known is this issue? Is it something that got a lot of traction on campus? What were the student reactions to it, as far as you could tell? Did students even notice or pay attention to this at all? Was this something that was even on their radar?
I don't think this was really something on people's radar. I think people had just grown so accustomed to all of the woke nonsense that they just kind of just it glazed over it. I think the main thing that people took note of, the main people that took note of it were the leftist groups, group leadership in general, who now could change their constitutions, or future groups. Like I know Turning Point is starting back up at the University of Missouri, and they were asking me about where the requirement was for including gender identity and gender expression. And they told me that they couldn't find it in the Constitution requirements anymore. And so at first, I initially thought it was just they made an exception for Mizzou's college Republicans. And then I found out, oh, they removed the requirement for all student groups. This is actual change that has happened. The Columbia Missourian, a local paper, put out an article about the situation. It got more attention on there. Congressman Alford gave it some attention as well. He is the representative for Missouri's 3rd Congressional District. He's been very outspoken against radical gender ideology. In fact, he's proposed the Chloe Cole Act in Congress to, I believe it's to permanently ban any gender altering treatments on minors. I'm 95% sure that's what it is. But reaching out, there hasn't really been a whole lot of response from the overall student body. But I came to discover last night the Missouri Student Association Senate, kind of like student government for Mizzou, they proposed a resolution to try to undo all the work that I've done, and to try to get the administration to answer for why they bent the knee to Republicans to create this change.
Well, good luck with that, because not only They didn't really bend the knee to you guys. They are just abiding by federal law, which is, something that they should do unless they want to risk losing their funding. Um, so I don't. The leftist groups can try all they want. I don't think they're. It doesn't sound like to me they're going to make much progress on that, given that it's federal law, unless the university just decides, you know what, fine, we'll fight the Trump administration. Why not? I don't think that they would do that. But I don't know the area. I'm just making an assumption from a business perspective. I don't think that would be good publicity. That would be good business for them.
It
So
definitely would not. I mean, we're trying to build up a new nuclear reactor for on campus. Federal funding for that would be hard to come by if we're fighting the Trump administration. So I don't think the university is going to go back on this. Um, it's unfortunate that a lot of student groups are super uneducated as to why this change should not be instituted in the first place, from A, the legal standpoint, and B, the ideological standpoint, that it should not be the job of a university to impose gender ideology upon its students. I mean, there are Christian organizations, fraternities, sororities. I mean, can you imagine a biological male joining a sorority and a sorority having to accept that? That's
well, I'm
not
pretty
right.
sure. I'm pretty sure that might have already been attempted at
That was
least.
a
I'm
problem at
not
the
sure.
University of Kansas. I
Right.
remember that
Yeah,
being a
okay.
problem at the University of Kansas. But the shocking thing is the new revelations I've come across and finding in response from community members about this. I was scrolling through the comments of the Columbia Missourian article post on Instagram. There's a whole slew of comments. I want to make sure I read this comment right. Um, it was a lot of the comments on the post were just, oh, Republicans are bigots, oh, they're fascists, blah, blah, blah. But one comment stuck out in particular to me, and it said, anyways, the Mizzou College of Health Sciences provides gender affirming voice therapy for those interested. We have not abandoned you and will fight for you. I Googled this, and I was shocked to find out that on the University of Missouri's website, the College of Health Sciences does in fact have a gender affirming voice therapy program. Your tax dollars and my tuition go towards funding this insane program. What a waste of money. That money could be given for additional scholarships. It could be going for our athletics programs, for different departments, for the nuclear reactor that we want on campus. And instead, we're going to fund nonsense programs like this. And so, seeing as the student body wants to try to undo the work that I've been doing, I am taking it upon myself to undo the rest of the woke nonsense policies and programs we have on our campus. As much as I can get, I'm taking them down.
Good. Good. We need people on campuses all across the country to stand up to this nonsense, to fight for what is good, what is true, what is beautiful, and to not capitulate to the radical left. I don't even know what voice therapy is supposed to even be like. Can you explain that real quick? Because I'm kind of lost.
So on the website, this is what it says. This is what it says on the University of Missouri's website. Voice therapy involves training to help individuals modify their voices, resulting in communication patterns that match their gender identity. So if you're a biological male wanting to try to become a woman, that's going to make you sound like a woman, I guess. What a waste of time and money.
Yeah, for real. Especially considering the fact that most trannies, if you even look at them, you don't have to hear their voice. You just have to look at them, and you immediately know. You just immediately know.
It's like the Dexter
There's
meme.
something. Yeah, there's something off there. You just immediately know. There is no need to even open your mouth. I can just look at you. I know.
It's like the Dale meme from The Walking Dead. I know what kind of man you are.
Yeah, except in some cases they're not even men. They're trying to be men, or in some cases they're trying to be. It's all of this is just so confusing. I will not. The day cannot come sooner that we are finally past all this mess. It is insane. Ugh. All right. I have one last question related to Mizzou, but unrelated to this topic. This stuff is insane. I'm glad that we have people on these campuses fighting back, and my prayers are with you. The prayers of our listeners are with you. But I had a friend ask, "Where's the Liberty pin?" Because obviously Liberty is playing right now, and I would have worn it except for the fact that I knew that you were coming on. And like some congressmen, I have dual citizenship, except my dual citizenship is with being a Liberty fan and being an Alabama fan. And obviously, Alabama's coming to Columbia this Saturday for a game. I already see you shaking your head. Um, Obviously, we're both biased towards our teams, but just as unbiased as you can make it, I guess, okay, what's your biased prediction, and then what's your, like, unbiased, trying to be a neutral observer prediction of how this game's going to go?
Ahmad Hardy's going to hit a Heisman pose after he scores his 5th touchdown against the University of Alabama. That's my biased prediction. My realistic prediction, based on how Alabama has played, it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be one of Mizzou's toughest games of the season. But I'm a believer in Bo Prabula. Ahmad Hardy, he's the best running back in the country. Definitely best running back in the SEC for sure. It's gonna be one hell of a game. It's gonna be amazing. I can't give you a score prediction, but I do think Mizzou will actually come out on top of this. Furrow Field is an insane environment to play in. And since you brought it up, one moment.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. What do we have?
Got to bring out my Star Wars fan for a minute. The Mizzou Clone Trooper helmet, famously worn by the Brady Cook, Luther Burden, Mookie Cooper. We've got a lot of people that were trying to get this on. Bo Prabula is on that list. So far, I've gotten Robert Meyer, our new true freshman kicker. And I've also gotten Marquise Johnson, our top wide receiver this season. MIZ, we're going to take it.
As a follow-up question, I just have to ask, how much Tylenol did your mother take while you were in the womb?
Uncertain. We don't know. We don't know how much Tylenol. We don't know. It's a good question. We don't know. Frankly, could have been a lot. Who knows?
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I do think it's going to be a good game. The thing that I'm looking at is Missouri is a good team. They are ranked 15th for a reason, but at the same time,
14th.
14th. My bad. Excuse me. They're ranked in the top 15 for a reason. But also looking at their schedule, I mean, they've played decent teams, but I don't know that they've had a true test yet. I mean, Alabama's coming off a win at Georgia and a win against a very good Vanderbilt team. I've heard some people, like Josh Pate, speculate that this will actually be the toughest team Alabama has faced. I'm inclined to possibly believe that. However, again, I just don't know because you look at who you've played, and I'm just like, I'm not sure.
I mean, you did open the season with a loss to FSU. I'm just throwing that out there.
That is true, and looking at how both seasons have progressed since then, I really have no explanation for that whatsoever, other than maybe UVA is just the sleeper team this year that came out of nowhere. I'm not sure, but either way,
It'll be a good game.
Miami is a very good team as well. I think Miami is probably in the running for championship contender this year. That out of the way, I think it's going to be a good game.
The playoff picture is already looking insane. This overall is going to be a great game. I was fortunate enough to actually get a ticket. Mizzou switched up our student ticket system to a lottery system after we already bought our passes, and so I had to essentially hope that I was lucky enough to get a ticket. And fortunate enough, I did. I'm 6-0 on my ticket claims for the year, so hope to keep that going.
See, this is the advantage of going to a G5 school, because I can just show up. I can literally just show up and get in for free.
Man,
I don't have to worry about this.
Well, it doesn't help that our stadium's under construction, but
I mean, yeah, that probably has something to do with it.
I mean, it's coming along nicely. It actually might be finished on time. I don't want to jinx it, but it might be the first construction project I've seen that's actually finished on time.
Well, if it is finished on time, send those boys over to Liberty because we got some stuff going on over here. Not with our stadium, but just around campus. Thank you, Brendan, tonight for joining in tonight. Just where can people find you?
You can follow me at Poteet05_MIZ on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. You can also find me on Instagram. Let me pull it up. It's similar, but it's slightly different. Poteet.miz05 on Instagram. And then there you'll find the organizations I'm part of. You'll find College Republicans of America, the Missouri Federation of College Republicans, and the Mizzou chapter of College Republicans.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. God bless.
Of course, God bless. All right. Thank you, Brendan, once again. Wild stuff happening around the country, folks. If you are on a college campus, if you are a college student, and you are not involved in your local College Republicans chapter, go join up because you might end up being a part of fights like this one where you're trying to remove all vestiges of this radical gender ideology from your campus. All right, I don't know if it's halftime now or if anything. Can someone please just give me a quick score update on the Liberty game? Just drop it in the comments. I will see it. And if, just throughout the night as things progress, if somebody's watching the game, listening to the game, tracking the game at all, just periodically please update me on what's going on. All right, moving right along. I assume this is probably, I'm sure there are a lot of people on here for Brendan, but I also assume there's probably a lot of people that were waiting for this. So, in case you live under a rock, Charlie Kirk was martyred a few weeks ago on September 10th at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. As soon as the assassination happened, theories started running wild. Right now, the official story is that a gentleman who I will not name because I do not want to give him publicity, and you know what? He's not even a gentleman. He's a piece of trash, if we're being honest. A subhuman piece of trash killed Charlie Kirk. There are questions right now about his ties to certain organizations. There's speculation he might have been involved with or part of Antifa due to the fact that on the bullets he allegedly wrote, "Hey fascists, catch this." He wrote the lyrics to a popular anti-fascist song from Italy and a few other disparaging things. He lived with a transgender roommate, and I'm not sure if that roommate was a guy pretending to be a woman or a woman pretending to be a guy. Either way, it's kind of gay. There are several questions about whether or not he acted alone, whether or not there were multiple people involved, whether or not there's some sort of organizational structure involved in this. I tend to think there may be, and it's something that the Trump administration should crack down on heavily. However, there are some things and there are some questions that are still up in the air and things that don't quite make sense about this whole situation. And because of that, and also additionally because of the fact that so many conspiracy theories have proven to be true over the last few years, people are asking questions. And rightfully so. I mean, I think it's good to be asking questions. That is something I encourage. I will say, from the perspective of someone who's currently in law school, currently taking a criminal law class, I have questions, but I'm trying to be patient because I do understand that it takes a while to make a case about something. It takes a while to build a case. It takes a while to build a prosecution. It takes a while to go through the trial process, and if there are multiple actors involved, then this is something that needs to be thoroughly investigated. But again, there are people asking questions. I'm not going to disparage anybody from that. I think you should ask questions. However, some of the questions and some of the things that have been floating throughout the air, I think, are less than likely. For example, Candace Owens, who for a long time was one of Charlie Kirk's friends. I will say I think it is interesting that she either A, was not invited, or B, chose not to attend the memorial service for Charlie. She claims that she chose not to attend it. There's speculation that she might not have even been invited. Not sure what's going on there. But Candace Owens has brought up some things about Charlie Kirk the last few days, and it has insinuated that maybe the nation of Israel has something to do with his death. Now, it's been public knowledge for a while that Charlie has been having some tensions when it comes to this issue. He was observing that Gen Z was moving rapidly out of favor with Israel. That is something that is factual, that is something that is observable. Also, he was having issues with people who were helping donors to TPUSA because of his relationship with Tucker Carlson and the fact that he invited Tucker Carlson to events such as the Student Action Summit, such as America Fest. There were some, because of Tucker Carlson's views on Israel, that did not want him to invite Tucker to anything Turning Point related. He also got in some hot water during the summer at the Student Action Summit when he hosted Dave Smith, who is a vocal critic of Israel, for a debate with Josh Hammer over the issue. Some people said he should not have invited Dave Smith at all. Charlie Kirk has publicly alleged that people are calling him anti-Semitic over the fact that he has questions about some of the things that the Israeli government was doing and how it was prosecuting the war in Gaza. Now, Candace Owens leaked this earlier this week. This is a text thread from what I think is a Telegram chat that includes several people in the Turning Point organization. It says Charlie Kirk, just lost another huge Jewish donor. $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody, the name is blacked out. I did not do that. That is just from the screenshot that was posted. Somebody in the chat said, ugh. To which Charlie responded, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Now, Andrew Colvett, who is the spokesman for Turning Point USA, the producer for the Charlie Kirk Show, and has been taking over kind of the leading role on the Charlie Kirk Show, confirmed that these text messages are real. He also confirmed what most of us already knew, which was that Charlie was having a public battle, was having a personal kind of wrestling with this issue because of some of this behavior that he observed. Now, I will just say this. I don't know how this proves Candace's theory that Israel was somehow involved in the assassination attempt. These messages were sent about 48 hours before Charlie was unfortunately killed. Unless I'm just underestimating the ability of governments to do anything, I think it would be very difficult for Israel, or even for the United States for that matter, to coordinate an assassination and pull off this massive cover-up in 48 hours. It seems unlikely. That doesn't mean it's not what happened. My gut tells me it's unlikely. Candace has been trying to insinuate that because Josh Hammer, who was one of the only people I think that she named who was in this chat, because he reposted an old Trump tweet talking about public executions, he quote tweeted it saying based the day before Charlie died. She's trying to insinuate that that means that he somehow played a role in this. For the record, I'm not really a fan of Josh Hammer. Josh, if you're watching, it's nothing personal. I just quite frankly don't like your speaking style and find it personally annoying. I don't know you as a person. You might be a phenomenal person. I'm not sure. I don't know you. Personally, you're just not my cup of tea. I'm not a fan. I will just say that. I also have not complicated but somewhat nuanced views on Israel. Obviously, I'm reformed in my theology, so I don't see any sort of end time significance with Israel. When it comes to the foreign policy thing, they can do whatever they want as far as I'm concerned. I just don't want the United States being involved in it. Um, I think America should focus on America. I think that our foreign policy should be based off of something akin to the Monroe Doctrine. I think we should focus on North and South America. That's my opinion. So I'm not a Zionist. I'm not out here saying that, we have to support Israel at every turn. That's not my thing. I don't like talking about the issue, to be frank with you, just because there are so many people on both extremes of the debate that no matter what your opinion is, will find some reason to criticize you and call you a shill for Israel, a BB slave, insinuate you got paid $7,000, or on the other side call you a raging anti-Semite, this, that, and the other. Excuse me. I just don't care. I'm ambivalent. It's not my pet issue. It's not something. So that's where I stand on this. So, but going back to Candace, again, I don't understand where some of this insinuates in any way whatsoever that Israel had some kind of role in this. I think there are a lot of things that don't make sense about the FBI investigation. Don't get me wrong. I think there are a lot of things that don't make sense about the public story about what we know so far. Do not get me wrong. But the evidence, quote unquote, so far that Israel had some sort of role in this, I'm just not seeing it. I don't see it. I don't see what you're talking about. I don't see how this connects. I don't see any correlation whatsoever on this at all. And so that was one thing. And then things got a little bit weirder when Candace said this on her live show.
Vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. And it was the immediate sense I got, actually. And I don't know who exactly it is that betrayed him, but I also felt in the dream that it is soon going to be revealed, that it's actually inevitable that it is going to be revealed, that there is nothing and no one that is going to stop the truth from coming out, and it is going to have international consequences. Take that to the bank. Quote me on that. Women tend to have a strong...
Charlie Kirk came to her in a dream. In a dream. I know a lot of charismatics. I know a lot of people who are of the charismatic persuasion who think that signs, gifts, prophecies, dreams are something that still happens today. And I think God can work through dreams. I don't know a single person of any theological persuasion who says that dead people can communicate to you through dreams. And Candace is Catholic, and I don't know that much about Catholic theology, but the little bit I do know, I don't think that they believe that dead people can communicate to you through dreams. If you are someone who buys into this theory, personally, I don't believe it, but if you're someone who does subscribe to this theory that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's murder, or even if you're just someone who is anti-Israel in general, and you're trying to make a case for your argument, let me give you some advice. Get as far away as you can from Candace Owens, because insinuating that someone came to you in a dream who's deceased is straight up insane. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm not sorry. It's crazy. It is actually crazy. I don't have words. I just don't. How can I don't get it. I don't understand. This is insane to me. How can someone who was supposedly one of your best friends, who you loved dearly, and you're going to say that he came to you in the afterlife through a dream? Come final exam season this semester, I'm gonna need some of what she's having, because what on earth are you talking about? What on earth are you talking about? I said this the other day, and I stand by these words, and I will repeat these words word for word the way that I said it in my tweet. If you are someone who is anti-Israel, your own worst enemy is not Zionist, it's not pro-Israel people, it's your own side. Because you guys do have some valid points on some stuff. I don't think AIPAC should have as much influence as it does in our government. I don't think any organization funding and promoting foreign governments should have any sort of influence whatsoever in the United States government. America is for Americans. The American government exists to defend the interest of American citizens. I don't think foreign organizations should fund that. And so there are things like the AIPAC issue on which the zealous anti-Israel people have some good points. But you allow the most politically and optically retarded people to run the conversation. And that's why people like me and other people who say, you know what, maybe we should change up our foreign policy, maybe we shouldn't be so focused in world affairs, that's where you lose us. All right, I think America's foreign policy should primarily be focused on, first and foremost, what's in the best interest of America, and secondly, the Monroe Doctrine-esque ideology, where we are focusing solely, not primarily, on North and South America, because they are literally our backyard. So I take a Matt Walsh kind of approach, where I'm not in favor of foreign aid, especially right now when we've got so much going on in our own country, so that affects our relationship with Israel. Oh well, I'm sorry, I want to protect America. But when you allow stupidity like this to run rampant, yes, you're going to get some people come over to your side who are already pretty much on your side. But normal people who maybe you could have actually reached are going to see something like that and go, that's schizophrenic, I don't want to be part of that. It just makes zero sense to me how anybody is taking this seriously. I've seen people defending this. I've seen people defending this. I've seen people saying, well, you know, dreams are and you know, you never know how dreams can work. No. I'm a sola scriptura Protestant, so please open the Bible and show me anywhere, anywhere, anywhere in Scripture where it says that a dead person can commune with the living through dreams. Show me anywhere. And you know what? I also like church history. I appreciate church history. I don't care if you have to go back to Polycarp. I don't care if you have to go back to Justin the Martyr. I don't care if you have to go back to Martin Luther. I don't care if you have to go back to Augustine. I don't care who you have to go back to. If you can point me to one person, just one, in church history, who is a serious person, who has said anything about that it's possible in any way whatsoever for a dead person to commune with the living through a dream, I would love to see that argument. Because I have never heard it before. This is insane. This is just insane. I don't understand how anybody can take this seriously. Anybody. Like, yes, okay. At first, she raised some good points about that there are question marks about the assassination. Some things aren't adding up. Okay, cool. I have questions too. It's good to ask questions. Then she started insinuating that Israel had a hand in it, and I said, "You know what? I'm not sure. If you have evidence, show me." Then she dropped these group chat texts, which don't prove anything in my mind because this is all of this are things that we already knew. We already knew Charlie was grappling with this issue. We already knew that Charlie was getting pressure from donors because he invited Tucker Carlson. He was also in 2024 getting pressure from donors because they thought he was too pro-life, and pro-life wasn't a popular issue at the time. He didn't change his stance on abortion. It could be possible he was changing his stance on Israel. I don't know. I've never met the guy. I would have loved to have met him. But unfortunately, that will not happen now. The group chats, I didn't think that proved anything. I said, okay, it shows what we already knew. It doesn't show a connection. Show me evidence with a connection. And then, she comes out here and says, Charlie appeared to me in a dream. How am I supposed to take you seriously? How am I supposed to take you seriously when instead of presenting evidence, presenting logical arguments, you're out here saying the most brain dead thing that you can possibly think of? This is why I hate talking about Israel, because it brings out the stupidest people. It brings out the stupidest people. I just want to focus on America, man. I just want to focus on America. And the other thing that gets me about this is the fact that, again, I have questions about these things. I'm trying to be patient because I understand from a criminal law perspective it takes a while to build a case, especially if there are multiple people involved, which I think there are. Excuse me. But I still have questions, and so does everybody else. I mean, it's logical to have questions. I've even heard from reliable sources that people at TPUSA have questions. But I can't help but think, when you're out here saying something as so mind-numbingly stupid as Charlie Kirk came to me in a dream. I know dreams can be real. I know that God can use dreams. Thank you, Richie. But I don't know of a single place in Scripture. In fact, hold on, let me turn. So somebody quoted Matthew chapter 1 verses 20 through 21. Matthew chapter 1 verses 20 through 21. That's what that says, right? Yep. All right, Matthew chapter 1 verses 20 through 21. I have my Bible. Let's read it. But as he considered these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary as your wife, for that which is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. Amen. Amen. Cosign, 100%. Dreams can be real. But you notice what the verse says? It says an angel of the Lord. You know what it does not say? A person who is dead came to me in a dream. It does not say that a person who is dead came to Joseph. It says an angel of the Lord. So again, I think dreams are valid. I think that they're real. I think they can happen. From angels. Not from your deceased grandmother or your deceased best friend coming back to talk to you. And I see no scriptural support for that. Angels can come to you in a dream. God can come to you in a dream. There are plenty of stories about Muslims seeing a man who claims to be Christ in their dreams saying, "Come to me." I think that's completely real. But not dead people. That's the thing that's getting me on this. When you say something so mind-numbingly stupid as Charlie Kirk appeared to me in a dream, I'm not going to take you seriously. And I don't want to accuse her of nefarious intentions because I don't know. But I do think that some people, maybe she is, maybe she's not, but I think that there are definitely bad actors out there who are taking this and running with it, not because that they actually have legitimate questions about Charlie Kirk's assassination, not because they actually want to find the truth of the matter. I think people are running with this because they see that the Trump administration is using this as an excuse to crack down on Antifa, something that they should have done anyway, and they're trying to run cover for the left. I'm not saying that's what Candace is doing. I'm just saying that there are bad people out there who I think are doing this. This is a distraction. Regardless of who killed Charlie, I do think that we should still target Antifa for multiple reasons. But this is a distraction from something that we should be focused on. Sorry, my throat was getting a little bit dry. This is a distraction from something that legitimately needs to be focused on. And that's what's driving me the most crazy about this. Again, it's good to have questions. Question. The official narrative, there are some holes in it. Question it. I'm trying to be patient because I know it takes a while to set up a criminal case. Still, question it. But these are things that I cannot take seriously. Coming out and saying, Israel killed Charlie Kirk and I have proof, and your proof is just a screenshot from a group chat that you weren't even a part of and didn't even post the full context of, mind you, that just confirms something that we've already known, for one, and then coming back later and saying Charlie Kirk appeared to me in a dream. That's not evidence. That's not proof. Come to me with something stronger, if you have anything. Otherwise, I cannot take this seriously. I just cannot. Alright. As of 10:14, Liberty was up 19-0. Oh my gosh, we're actually winning a game. What do you know? It's so obvious. It's so obvious the evil regime did it, though. I mean, I think that there's a very, very big possibility that there was deep state involvement because, I mean, look, who is funding these groups? That's something I want to know, is whether or not it was Antifa. I tend to believe it was somebody tied to at least some sort of radical left-wing organization. Who is funding them? I mean, we saw with USAID that a lot of these radical left-wing groups were getting funding through that. So is it possible that there was a regime actor in the deep state that had something to do with this? Absolutely. I think that's a huge possibility. And I'm willing to have a conversation about that. I think that we can, if we look hard enough, we could possibly find evidence of that. But some of these theories just don't make sense, man. They just don't. I'm sorry. They just don't. And unless that somebody comes to me with harder evidence, I'm not going to be inclined to take seriously the word of somebody who claimed that a dead person appeared to her in a dream. If she would have said something like an angel of the Lord came to me in a dream, okay, I would still be a little bit skeptical, but that's more believable, at least from a scriptural standpoint. But Charlie Kirk coming to you in a dream, I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. All right, we are running short on time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this all up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for watching. Once again, if you're watching on X, hit follow, retweet this, share it with your friends. If you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, drop a comment, share it with your friends. Let's try and see how many new people we can add to the family here. Let's try and see how many new people we can add to the family. We have 584 people watching right now. This is the most people I've ever had on a live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. And even if you disagree with what I've said tonight, I still want you to join the family. I still want you to come, participate, have fun with us. Because I enjoy pushback. I actually like pushback. I think it makes I think being exposed to alternative points of view makes you a stronger person, even if you don't change your mind. So come on in, join the family. Thank you guys once again. God loves you, and so do I. God bless you all. Have a great rest of your night. Oh, and please be praying for me and my fiance. Tomorrow we are driving from Lynchburg, Virginia to Nashville, Tennessee. It is fall break at Liberty University. If you're in Nashville, hit me up. I might try and see if I have time to meet you this weekend. But we will be in Nashville. I'm going to a Predators game, NHL Nashville Predators. They're playing the Utah Mammoth, the new expansion team. I'm going to that on Saturday. That should be fun. I've always wanted to go to an NHL game. I love hockey. I don't know anything about it. I don't really know that many players. I just enjoy watching it. I think it's fun to watch. Do not quiz me on hockey knowledge. All I know is Alex Ovechkin beat what's his name, Wayne Gretzky's record last year. That was awesome. But pray for us as we go to Nashville this weekend to visit her brother and have a good fall break. Again, thanks again for watching. God bless you. God loves you, and so do I. I hope you all have a great rest of your night.